There are moments in intimacy that go beyond physical, moments that don't just feel good. They feel unforgettable. And in those moments, it's not always your body that takes the lead. Realize that it's your words. You see, while men are often painted as purely physical creatures, the truth is, they're far more emotionally reactive than they let on. Especially when the right words hit them in the right moment. And today I want to give you 3 words, simple, subtle, but absolutely game-changing, that when said with intention, they can make a man surrender to you completely during intimacy. I'm talking about that moment when his guard drops, when he stops trying to impress or perform and just melts into you. That surrender doesn't come from friction alone. It comes from feeling chosen, safe, wanted, and fully accepted. They realize that the words in the right moment act like keys. They unlock something inside him that no amount of physical touch ever could. So today, I'm not just giving you a phrase, I'm giving you power. And it all begins with how you deliver it when you say itib and what energy you bring behind it. Let's dive into the 6 key moments that they make these 3 words absolutely irresistible. Use them right before he climaxes. There's a window in intimacy where a man's body is surging with sensation, but his emotions are at their most raw. And that window is right before he climaxes. It's the moment where his control slips, where his usual composure fades, gallows that there, and where he's as close to emotionally vulnerable as he'll ever get without saying a word, that moment. That's your opening. And what you say or don't say right then can either be forgettable, Eb, or unforgettable. Most people treat climax as the finish line. But for a woman who knows her power, realize that it's not the end, it's the height of connection. And if just before that moment you lean in and whisper those 3 words, I feel you, something shifts in him. His body might still be riding the wave, but his heart suddenly snaps to attention, because those words don't just affirm his performance, they affirm his presence. They let him know that you're tuned in, that you're with him, that what's happening isn't just physical, it's personal. You see, most men are so used to sex being about what they do. They're how well they perform, whether or not they satisfy you. There's pressure in that. And often, even in pleasure, there's disconnection. But when you, in that split second of surrender, they meet his vulnerability with intimacy, it undoes him completely. I feel you, as I'm not says judging you, I'm analyzing you. I'm present. I'm here. I'm experiencing this with you. They're not watching you from a distance. It tells him that you're emotionally naked too, not just physically involved. The beauty of this move isn't in its drama. It's in its subtlety. Realize that you don't need to say it loudly. In fact, the better, a breathy whisper, a hand resting on his chest, a soft, knowing smile. These things paired with those 3 words are what turn a moment of pleasure into a moment of surrender, not just for him, but for both of you. And make no mistake, men, remember this. He may forget positions, he may forget routines, but he'll remember the way you made him feel in that exact moment when he was at his edge. And instead of being left alone in it, that you met him there emotionally, it's rare. And what's rare becomes magnetic. So don't underestimate this, don't overlook it. The right 3 words said at the right time, they carry more power than any trick, technique, or performance. Because when you say, I feel you, right before he finishes, he doesn't just climax, he connects. And in that connection, he doesn't just feel turned on, he feels safe, seen, and wanted. And that's when a man doesn't just surrender to the moment, he surrenders to you. Whisper them in his ear while on top. There's something intoxicating about being on top, not just because you're in control of the rhythm or the view, the angle, but because of how close you are. Your body is pressed your lips are inches from his ear. Your breath is warm against his skin. And in that position, words become your greatest tool, not loud words, but 3 quiet, intentional, emotionally loaded words. I feel you. When whispered, that these words bypass his logical mind and go straight to his nervous system. You're not just speaking to his ears, you're speaking to his instincts. And when you say them with softness, with sincerity, with just the right amount of tension in your voice, you become unforgettable. Realize that You stop being someone who's just doing things to him and start becoming someone who's feeling with him. Their men aren't used to being whispered during sex, especially not with words that cut so deep. They're used to moans, to encouragement, maybe even to direction. But this is different, is when they realize that they're up. It doesn't hype him up. It grounds him. It makes him feel like he's not just performing, he's being felt. It reassures him that you're not thinking about how you look. Realize that there. Or if you're doing it, right, you're just fully present in the moment with him. The realize whisper works because it's so intimate. You're close to brush your lips against his skin as you say it. That you're close enough for him to feel your breath shift as the words leave your mouth. That physical nearness paired with emotional depth creates something that borders on sacred. It's not just sexy, it's spiritual. And here's the part most women don't realize: when you whisper something meaningful during sex, you redefine the experience for him. Most men carry a silent emotional loneliness, even in their most physically connected moments. They crave depth. They want to be seen, even if they never say it out loud. And when a woman whispers, "I feel you," when she especially is the one on top, she breaks through the barrier. She becomes someone he doesn't just lust after. She becomes someone he lets in. Realize that it's the contrast that makes it work. You're in control physically, but emotionally, you're meeting him with softness, power, and tenderness in one. That's what makes him surrender there, because you're not just dominating his body, you're cradling his heart. The next time you're in that position, don't rush the moment. Slow it down, lean in, let the space between your lips and his ear grow tense with anticipation, and then let the words fall out gently, deliberately. "I feel you." Watch how his body reacts. Watch how his breath catches. That's not just arousal, it's emotion. It's the subtle shift from sex to intimacy, from pleasure to presence. And that's where the magic is. They're not in being the hottest, wildest, most skilled lover, but in being the one who, in the middle of all of it, makes him feel understood. That's what makes him not just surrender to you in the moment, but crave you long after it's over. Say them during eye contact. Not just movement. In the world of intimacy, movement often takes center stage. Rhythm, friction, heat, breath. But what if I told you that the most powerful moment of connection isn't in the motion, but in the stillness? It's when everything slows down, when your bodies are still tangled but your eyes meet, that something far deeper than lust begins to take shape. And in that moment, when you lock eyes there, when the world goes quiet, if you speak those three simple words, "I feel you," you don't just touch his body, you touch his soul. Eye contact is intimacy's oldest language. You can fake sounds, you can fake moans, you can even fake interest, but the eyes, they don't lie. And when you look at him, not in passing, not as a reaction, realize that there, but as a deliberate act, you tell him, "I'm really here with you." And that alone already sets you apart from most women he's ever been with. Now, pair that kind of unwavering presence with the words, "I feel you," and you will absolutely undo him. This isn't about saying something to fill space there. It's about saying the one thing that brings depth into a moment that could have just stayed surface level. You're inviting him into something far more vulnerable, far more real. They realize that you're letting him know he's just being watched or touched. He's being felt emotionally, felt energetically there. And that kind of connection doesn't just create surrender, it creates addiction. When you meet a man's eyes during intimacy and stay there, not just glance, but stay, you're saying, realize that I'm not afraid of what I see. I'm not avoiding you. I'm absorbing you. That breaks down his walls. It tells him he can let go. It makes him feel emotionally safe in one of the most vulnerable physical acts he'll ever engage in. And trust me, that safety is everything to a man who spends most of his life performing strength. When you say, "I feel you," in that moment, you're giving him permission to stop performing and just be. And whether he knows it or not, he craves that. He craves the kind of intimacy. Will have to be the strong one, the skilled one, the one in charge. He gets to be seen, felt, held in your gaze, in your energy, in your words. So the next time things get intense, slow down, hold his face if you want. Let your eyes find his and stay there. Don't rush, don't flinch. And when you know he's open, say it, I feel you, let it land, let it hit. Because in that one moment, he'll feel something he didn't even know he was looking for. And that they realize that's what makes a surrender, not to the sex, but to you. Speak them when he's holding back emotionally, sometimes during intimacy. You can sense it. He's there physically, but something's missing. He's touching you, kissing you, maybe even making all the right moves, but his energy, his presence, it's distant. As if he's holding something back there. And that's because often he is. Maybe it's emotional pressure. Maybe he's unsure of how you feel. Maybe he doesn't know if it's safe to let his guard down there. But this is where your feminine intercomes your superpower. Because when you feel that hesitation, when you sense that emotional wall behind his physical presence, realize that you have the chance to say 3 words that break through it. I feel you. Not I see you. Not I want you. But I feel you. It's subtle. It's soft. And it says more than any deep conversation could in that moment. They realize that it tells him that you're not just there for the sensation. You're there for him. And when he feels that, when he realizes that you can sense his restraint and you're still with him, it pulls him out of his head and into his heart. You see, a lot of men aren't taught how to be emotionally vulnerable, especially during sex. For many, intimacy becomes the one place where they're expected to perform, not express there. So when they start to feel something rise, an emotion, a wave of tenderness, even fear, they often pull back, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to let it out. This is your moment. When you notice him disconnecting emotionally, slow everything down, soften. Don't call him out. Don't question it. Instead, reach for him, literally or metaphorically, and offer those 3 words like a gentle invitation. I feel you. Those words let him know you're paying attention. Realize that you're not just focused on your own pleasure or the physical act. You're tuned into his emotional experience. And that's rare. That's disarming. They realize that's the kind of thing that makes a man let go, not just physically, but emotionally. That's the surrender you're after. The most powerful women in intimacy aren't the ones who dominate the room or the rhythm. They're the ones who see what's not being said and know exactly how to respond with softness. Because when you do that, you're showing him something that almost no one ever does, that he doesn't need to be perfect to be wanted, that he doesn't need to be emotionally polished to be loved, that even in his hesitation, his conflict, his fear, you're still right there feeling him. And when a man hears those 3 words, I feel you, during a moment when he's emotionally guarded, he cracks open, maybe just a little, maybe a lot. But in that crack, something real passes between you. Something he doesn't forget, something he'll crave again, because now sex with you isn't just sex, it's healing. And that kind of intimacy, realize that's what makes him surrender, not just to the moment, but to you as the woman who truly gets him. They combine the words with your hands on his chest. There's something deeply intimate touch that isn't sexual. It's grounding. It says, I'm here with you, not just wanting your body, but holding your heart. And one of the most powerful places to touch a man during intimacy, especially when you want to build emotional connection, is his chest, his heart space. Realize that they're that place between the heat of arousal and the stillness of feeling. So when you place your hands there in the middle of all the passion and say the words, I feel you, you take the experience to another level. This isn't about being dramatic or making a show of it. In fact, it's the opposite. It's quiet, personal, sacred. It's you resting your palms gently on his chest, feeling his heartbeat, and letting him know that you're not just feeling his body, you're feeling him, that you're not caught up in performance or fantasy, you're connected to presence. And men don't get this often. They're used to being the ones giving, pushing, driving. Rarely do they get to just receive, especially emotionally. But when you give them that moment where they feel safe, where they feel seen, you unlock something, because his chest is where he hides so much, his stress, his pride, his fear. And when your hands land there, paired with those 3 simple words, I feel you, it's like you're opening a door no one else noticed was there. He may not even realize what's happening at first, but his body will, he'll soften, he will slow, his grip on performance will loosen, because now this isn't just sexual act, it's emotional alignment. You're telling him, realize that I'm in this moment with you, not because I want something from you, but because I want to be close to you. Most people miss this opportunity because they're focused on what's exciting, not what's meaningful. But let me tell you something, the most unforgettable experiences aren't always the wildest. They're the ones where someone feels emotionally met. Realize that's what makes a man crave you, not just for the night, but for the kind of connection he didn't know he needed. So next time you're with him, don't rush past this. That when he's close to finishing or when the energy is building, take a breath. Rest your hands flat on his chest. Feel the rise and fall. Feel his skin and say it softly, clearly. They're from a place of genuine connection. I feel you. Not like a line, like a trick, but like a moment of truth between two people who are really there together. And when you do, realize that you become the safest place he knows, the woman he can be vulnerable with, the one who just sees the surface but reaches underneath it and holds him there. That's not just intimacy. Realize that's emotional power. And when a man experiences that, he doesn't just surrender in the moment, he remembers you in every one after. Say it like you mean it, not like a script. Here's the part no one tells you. Words only have power when they're real. You could memorize every seductive line in the world, say every right phrase, even whisper the most intimate things in the heat of the moment. But if it doesn't come from a place of truth, he'll feel that, maybe not consciously, but deep down he'll know, because men, despite all stereotypes, are emotional sensors, especially during intimacy. They pick up on energy more than we give them credit for, and nothing is sexier, more disarming, or more powerful than authenticity. When you say, I feel you during intimacy, it shouldn't be because I told you to. It shouldn't be because you think it will make him love you or want you more. It should come from a genuine place of connection, because you actually do feel him, because you're emotionally present in that moment. You're tuned in, not just to his body, but to the man behind it. You're not trying to impress. You're letting yourself be with him. Men don't surrender to performance. They surrender to presence. They surrender when they feel that you're right there with them, not performing, not pretending, not checking a mental list, but emotionally naked. When you say those three words, I feel you, with sincerity, softness, and soul, it hits different. It becomes more than just a moment. It becomes meaningful. And that's what makes it unforgettable. It's not just the words, it's your tone, your breath, the softness in your eyes, the way your fingertips brush his skin, the way your body slows down when your heart catches up to the moment. That's what makes him feel it. That's what makes him surrender. If you say it like you're reading it off a cue card, it lands flat. But if you say it like it's the truth bubbling up from your heart because you really are feeling him, it becomes something rare. And what's rare in a world full of superficial encounters becomes magnetic. That's when a man doesn't just want more of you physically, he aches for your energy. For that version of you who looked him in the eye and said, I feel you, like she wasn't afraid to be seen either. So don't rush it. Don't fake it. Don't try to deliver it at the perfect time like it's a script. Instead, feel him first. Notice him. Notice how he's moving, breathing, showing up. And when the connection is real, say it quietly, honestly, like it was meant for his ears only. Because those three words spoken from a place of truth are worth more than any move or technique. They speak to something deeper in him. They show him that this isn't just physical, it's emotional. And in that moment, when your truth meets his vulnerability, something rare happens. He lets go. He stops performing. He surrenders, not just to the moment, but to you. Here's the truth most people miss. Men don't just crave sex. They crave connection inside the sex. They want to feel something real, something that makes them drop their guard, soften their heart, and completely lose themselves in you. And the gateway to that isn't just in how you move, it's in what you mean. Those three words, I feel you, sound simple, but they carry the weight of something most men rarely receive: emotional acknowledgement in their most vulnerable, naked moments. You're telling him, I'm not just here for your body, I'm here for you. And that kind of emotional safety, that kind of presence, it's what every man secretly hopes for, even if he doesn't know how to ask for it. So the next time you're with him, remember, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to perform. What you need is to be real. Because when you bring your truth into the bedroom, when you match physical intimacy with emotional presence, you give him an experience that no one else can. One that touches not just his skin, but his soul. Say it when it's true. Say it when your heart is open. Say it because you're not afraid to be felt too. Now, if you found this message valuable, if it gave you clarity, confidence, or just made you feel seen, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more tools to connect deeply, love powerfully, and become the woman he can't forget, make sure to subscribe, and turn on notifications. New videos every week to help you master both desire and depth in your relationships, because love shouldn't just feel exciting, it should feel true. And so should you.